Aloha. Uh, Today I wanted to jump off of the last video and go into a little bit more detail on how I'm observing our relationship to light and this physical reality experience, and what related to kind of the separation program and even the understandings of race, the whole like supremacy program that's on there. I know I mention it a lot because it's definitely a part of the way we perceive our reality and the way we interact. If we're going to understand peace and harmony, and flip the script on all this bullshit that's been put out there by the controllers, we have to understand what has been done to our human psyche, what has been done to the cultures, what has been done over time through history. We can't just ball everything up and just be like, oh yeah, well, everything is cool now. We have to go to the depths of understanding it, otherwise we'll be locked into or fall into another trap that is the same system. Because that's just another, that's like an intellectual version of ignorance. So you can be like, the university system is heavily based upon intellect, some sort of intellect, but if you miss the whole entire fucking point of what your connections are to nature and reality and harmonics within your expression within the physical reality and as an expression of the Most High Spirit, the soul expression. If you miss all these points, then you've gone past intellect into ignorance, into magic, magick, the manipulative, controlling version of intellect. It's no longer intellect. This is why people in the science community, they have this phrase called hard science. Like they say, like I actually called in to Star Talk Radio, which is Neil deGrasse Tyson's radio show, before all the B.O.B. stuff popped off. I called into his radio station, or I emailed his radio station and asked to speak on just pretty much anything, just in relation to the metaphysical observations of our reality in relation to what they call hard science. Now, I didn't use the words hard science. When his producer actually responded back to me, and this is about a year and a half ago, about a year ago. The producer responded back to me saying, we focus more on hard science. Now that right there in itself, and the only reason why I called into that radio station is because I saw Neil deGrasse Tyson on Sway's Universe, Sway in the Morning, and Sway is from Oakland, or Sway, from what I know, Sway is from Oakland. And I got really like irritated. I was like, man, Sway, how you gonna have people like this dude who's completely just totally in the system? I don't know anything about Sway and his show and everything. But at that time, I was like, man, you should have some people on here who are speaking on some other type stuff, at least to get it out there. And like, this dude is just another one of these orchestrated assholes who are just going to be out there trying to tell people some bogus information. At least get some people talking about some information that is outside of our reality, our known mainstream reality, to start to trigger the imagination of people and trigger the curiosity of people, so they start looking and thinking outside of these boxes. So as I was kind of irritated at Sway for that, which I never got a response from Sway, I actually did get a response back from Neil deGrasse Tyson's handler or producer or whoever for his radio, which was a year ago, saying, and I quote, "We only deal with hard science. You'd have more of a better chance talking on something to the extent of like those new age radio stations, basically just brushing me off, just being like, you know what, get the fuck out of here. You're not you're not in this realm. Like we talk about real life. So that's what they are actually vested in. The university system is vested in an illusion, a separation illusion. It is based upon their intellect. Their maximum potential is based upon ignorance. And if you go back to the ancient Kemetic understandings of evil, it is actually ignorance. And like this says right here, a common American phrase, United States phrase, is ignorance is bliss. And it's a joke. Like it's a joke to people when this ignorant state of being, this vibration, this lower linear perspective vibration, which is actually no vibration anymore. When I showed those vibrations from ultraviolet to the visible light to the infrared to the microwave, it flatlines. Like, so that flatline is actually death. So you're in a death reality once you get down to the AM, FM radio frequencies. When humanity gets shrunk down to the AM, FM frequencies of just material expressions of themselves, separating, not even understanding the chakras or the connection with the soul and the spirit and even the maximum potentials of the mind, you are literally flatlining the collective and individual, or the individual and the collective vibration. So it's not a vibration anymore. It's just a linear way to experience your reality, which is powerless, which is no fire. There's no fire there. There's no up and down frequencies at all, which create an energy to receive light. Like it creates pockets. It creates space in between the space, in between the moments, as the moment, to receive and absorb light. If you are just a flat line, then you are actually reflecting light. That's just like a mirror, or looking at, where is it at? So like a flat line, like in the color spectrums, and even in the melanated people, well, I'll get into a second. We are here. Information is light. Like light is energy. Information and light is energy. Like when your eyes are looking at something, when your eyes are seeing something or somebody that you love, that is information that you are absorbing on more than just your eyeball receptors. You are receiving some kind of information there. It's not like reading a book. It's different. Like to interact with somebody, you're not just seeing. Just like when you're listening to somebody speak who's talking to you right in your face, and they're just like telling you some bullshit, and you know because their body language is saying everything, and you're looking at them like you're bullshitting me. That's because you are receiving. It's not just body language. There's something about that essence. Like you can feel people around you, or somebody walks in the room and you can just feel people. That's an actual thing. You are absorbing some kind of energy. And on one basic scale, our ways of observing energy and information that exists outside the vibration of ignorance is knowledge and information. And when you are kept in the dark of knowledge and information, you are kept in a box of death, pretty much. So this physical reality is a celebration of ignorance, in that it is baseline separated the way we are experiencing it right now, and everything having it's just like we're surrounded by this it's hard to absorb light here because everything is so physical. And in fact, the only real living conscious beings that we can understand as having a connection to spirit within the human realm are those who have been here, like the origins of humanity. So the original absorbers of light are being systematically demonized with this whole Black Lives Matter stuff. Like, it's gone that far to people actually have to actually say Black Lives Matter. Like, that has gone, that is the supremacy, that is an example of the supremacy program going so far that people are actually having to convince other people that their life matters. Because there are some seriously racist and demented and ignorant people out there who have no compassion or empathy for their fellow human being, simply because they have been locked in to this normal state of mind that says, we have to create some kind of counterbalance to what these individuals are saying. So this is where this whole all lives matter and blue lives matter comes up, because I'm addressing all of the politics, all the university systems right now, all the scientists, because these people are intelligent. They know when people say Black Lives Matter, they don't mean not all lives matter or not blue lives matter. That's just a childish ass response to something. And when you see that we're not dealing with children, we're dealing with a destructive intelligence that is meaning to create an atmosphere of ignorance and amplify that atmosphere of ignorance in order to project an agenda, a vibration. And if you fall for that vibration instead of looking within yourself to understand what your heart truly truly feels, then you will buy into a self-destructive box of magic ignorance, which has now manifested into this reality as normal. When you see Donald Trump as now being set up there to be a possible candidate for the presidency, and that goes for Hillary too, that goes for Obama and fucking Bush. Same thing. It's all the same. These are just different layers of the same cake. You're eating different parts of the story. It's the same story. So basically what it is that what I wanted to get out there is that we have been taught to demonize ourselves. We have been taught to demonize our history by not knowing truly where we came from. When we buy into the university system and the evolution theory, the monkey evolution theory, and the globe model, and the hard science, energetic vibrations that are out there, we are buying into a shallow state of mind, a shallow system. And I'm putting these up here because these are, going from Greece to Rome to England to the United States of America, the colonial program. It's been based upon reflecting light, keeping light out of your system, and having it you simultaneously demonize what the dark spaces and balance is as a whole. When you understand that we are actually here to absorb light, and the best absorber of light is blackness, the black people, the melanated people. When you see that the eyeball, the actual iris of your eyeball, the coloring in the eyeball is the absorber of the light. Like this whole thing is melanin. Not saying not to put melanated people. There's no separation there. There's just and even when I'm talking about melanin, I'm more focused on the neuromelanin, which is the melanin that exists within everything. It doesn't have really anything to do with the skin pigment. The skin pigment is just the physical manifestation of being able to absorb light and energy through your skin cells and through, just like your hair does. It's the same thing. What I'm saying is that we miss the whole point when we get caught up in the whole like, oh, but that's racist, or what are you saying? Like, oh, this is all, you're saying like white people are this and black people are that. And like, no, first of all, calm the fuck down and just realize what I'm saying, that there is actual science, alchemy, true science that exists outside of the university system that relates to the human's relationship to light, the human's relationship to nature, the human's relationship to the earth plane, and the human's relationship to each other. And that has a truth to it. It has an actual history. The so-called white people or Caucasoid people have a history that you are being kept from if you are having that mentality of like, oh, well, this dude talking about something, and you are that. If you don't know truly where you came from or who you are, then I suggest you start asking some questions about it, because it matters. If you don't know where you came from and where you're rooted, then how the hell you gonna know where you're going? You don't know. There's no roots there. There's no foundation. And if you're just anchoring it in, oh well, we're all one, you're just following for another program. We have been duped into this program of, with the whole white Jesus, blonde hair, blue eyed, that whole thing. Every angle has been covered, from your connection to spirit, from your connection to yourself, your humanity, from your connections to the stars, from your connections to life before and after death. Everything is shrink wrapped for you to just buy into this reality and say, light is good, white is good, black is bad. And everything in between is just something that we just got to deal with. So ultimately, who are the minorities? That's what they say. Or like, you guys are minorities. Like, what are you talking about? Who even came up with that label? Like, where did this stuff originate? Where did the white supremacy program and white privilege originate? Where did the colonial program originate? Why does this stuff exist the way it does? Like, this stuff has an actual origin. And I wanted to focus this video because there's stuff that I've addressed those origins when I was talking about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and kind of all that other stuff before. But this, I really wanted to come from a more of a scientific perspective of the way we have been separated from our maximum energetic absorption of light and information and knowledge and connection, is because of the way our psychologies has been flipped upside down and backwards. So this goes into the way the television is designed to subconsciously program you to think and feel a certain way. It doesn't only exist only on the conspiracy theory shit. It goes down to the very natures of your understandings of yourself. So this is what I wanted to bring up. Like I brought this up yesterday, and why I was showing these other ones too is because the other thing, Socrates, Plato, Einstein, all these people, that originally came from, like, all this stuff originated in Kemet. They don't want you to talk about that. They want you to think that Africa, where Egypt actually is, they want you to think of Africa as like some kind of third world continent that is just full of just dusty old stuff. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, no, there's a history there that is the actual history anchoring of the entire human experience. And if you don't understand that to the depths, which is what they so adamantly keep you from, because they have to amp up the new important people. So this is where Einstein comes in, and Plato, and Greek and Roman time frame shit. They just took this information, because they were going down to Egypt and learning all that stuff in those Egyptian schools, those mystery schools, and then just going back to Greece and flipping the script, and also creating an idea of how they would create another script to keep people or to trick people, like creating their own magic on how they were going to expand their empire and protect their bloodlines. So this is where it goes from the Roman all the way out there to, it just keeps expanding up until Donald Trump today. And right now we're saying, and Hillary Clinton, it's the same shit, and Obama, same shit, just a different story. And now we have these toys, these technological toys that keep us distracted, because if we are not distracted, then we will start to ask questions. And the reason why we're asking questions right now, even more so, is because people are dying on the streets. People are being killed by this system. And then people have the audacity to actually rationalize and just like back up and have no actual humanity in relation to how and why this shit's going on. They won't challenge themselves at all. That is actual evil. To just reactively respond to some bullshit, and instead of really challenging themselves to understanding what's going on. So that ignorance is this space of evil, and the money is just a part of that ignorance. When people say money is the root of all evil and all that, so no, that's just part of the ignorant space, the separation program, the reflective program of separating yourself from absorbing light, absorbing life, because once you absorb this light, you are actually evolving your consciousness, expanding consciousness, and reflecting light through your actions, through your character, through your genetic code. If you constantly reflect light, if you are reflecting light instead of absorbing light, then you are not engaging your maximum potential within your waking state. You are when you constantly stay away, when you're running away from stuff, when you're just keeping everything and everybody at a distance, and you're running away from knowledge, when you're running away from actually understanding yourself, you're reflecting light, you're reflecting information instead of absorbing it to understand it, transmute it, and then be able to share your own light. So when we exist in a world that it's normal to reflect light and actually demonize the absorption process. And I go into this, I was talking about this sunscreen stuff before, because this is the actual psychology of how the whole race problem is amplified, is because we don't know that we are really here to absorb light. We don't know that we're here to take in light energy and download it into our genetic codes, and then that's how we evolve. We grow just like a plant does, a tree. Look how big trees get from just sunlight and water. They get nutrients from the earth, and it's just like a basic example of something we've been separated from. People like are super scared of the sun, super scared of natural foods and even water. They don't even get in and drink enough water, don't breathe right. So all kinds of things that we don't do that are very natural and very basic. And once you get people on that tone of distraction, and technology is a big part of it, then you can start to get them psychologically to implode themselves and implode future generations. So this whole reflecting of light is what's going on with this whole program, is that we've been taught and trained that something is wrong with you. And old school melanated people can understand this even more so, is because they're taught to hate themselves. Even that whole separation within the melanated community of light skinned people are better than dark skinned people. That whole shit that's out there, that's a psychological program. That's a divide and conquer program. That's a war within a war that is still going on today. People still think about that today in 2016, as this was installed in the slave programs from 200 plus years ago. Like, this is an actual thing that's going on today, and people act like this has no effect on our realities today. So people are putting on sunscreen. They think they're they think they're blocking the sun. It's like, nah. You are actually absorbing, you are protecting your light skin from being burned by putting some kind of synthetic melanin on your skin so that you may absorb light, you may absorb energy and transmute that energy into a tan, this pretty brown tan for your pale skin, and then not get burned. But you don't see this. You can't see the ultraviolet spectrum of how this stuff works. You just see sunscreen, and that's what it's called. It's called sunscreen. So we have all these age shield, healthy defense, protection, all these things that are protection sheer. Like, it's a totally backwards understanding of your reality, and it goes down to the simple spaces of how we see this stuff. So if you don't see this picture on the right, if you were to see this picture on the right on a regular basis, like if you were to feel this, you would think differently about black people. Like, we would have a completely, if it was called sun absorption lotion, you would have a different connection to the sun. You would have a different connection if you saw the way this looks. If you saw the way you looked in UV light, you would look at yourself differently. You would look at melanated people differently. You would look at this entire experience differently. This is kind of why I'm making this video right now, because it changes the perspectives on things. And it's not just the skin. It's like when you go into the study of melanin, which is the most studied element ever by the so-called hard science community, it's a big deal. And it's a big deal because it really goes into like the whole dark energy and dark matter stuff, and it goes on and on and on. And that ignorance of that understanding is at the root of not being able to unravel the programs of control, the supremacy program as a whole. And it goes down to our very the way we see ourselves. We can't see this stuff. We think we're blocking light. We think we're supposed to be protecting ourselves. No, like it's psychologically deep to where we are actually here. We are born here to absorb light, transmute it within this dark ass place, within this like self-destructive reality where it's highly destructive, anchor in these frequencies that can inhabit love, can inhabit compassion, can inhabit empathy. Get that energy and then express it as a sun, as another sun, onto other creative, intelligent beings within their reality, shifting genetic codes with your character, with your personality, the way you transmute light of your experience within the way you perceive your reality. So our perceptions of our reality have been completely flipped upside down and backwards, so that we don't vibrate in love and compassion anymore. We vibrate in fear and separation. We're not connecting, we're separating. We are blocking, separating ourselves from light, separating ourselves from the understandings of balances of light and darkness, separating ourselves from the spirit, soul, mind, and body on every level, because we've been locked into this basic so-called hard science reality. And we are so compartmentalized into this distraction grid that we really think we have multiple outlets to think we know what's going on. We have multiple outlets. So like I was just watching right before I saw this, started doing this video, was TYT and Alex Jones going at it. And they were just like, Alex Jones just bombarded TYT's live news feed and just was like, oh yeah, I'm on here trying to get like more viewers for his little YouTube channel or whatever. But that's a TV show. Both of them are TV shows. They are both existing within that space of ignorance, within that box called the American way or whatever, the revolution and all that stuff. Like, what revolution are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about, really? Like, you can see the ceilings that go there. And there's these multiple layers of ceilings that exist out there. Same thing goes for CERN and the Mandela effect. So when we have this event, this thing, the Mandela effect that is happening, we don't, these so-called hard scientists are not going to say anything about it unless it's going to benefit their agenda. This is why CERN has been out there by the so-called conspiracy theorists to set the foundation of, oh, well, this is all about CERN. So you can buy into it later on because you were like, oh, well, I heard about that. And you'll just close the door to any kind of potential understandings of connections within you and the consciousness space of this human experience. You'll just shut that door down and just live in an ignorant space of, well, the scientists got it. They got it. They know what's going on. I trust them. They ain't no different than NASA. They are about limiting your reality, limiting your light absorption, limiting your space, and reflecting anything that you have to say that will expand your light receptors. They'll just block it. They'll just block it and then tell their own story. That's how this magic works. So they are basically working as like an extreme sunscreen that actually gives you cancer, because you are blind. Not only are you putting this chemical on your skin that is not designed for your organic everything. It's synthetic. Everything in this reality is synthetic. Everything. This so-called mainstream reality, including all the other, especially people watching this, they already know the politics, the so-called conspiracies that are put out there by Alex Jones. They are all telling a mid-level story. They all exist within the fairy tale reality, because you can see how far they're not willing to go. That's another way of seeing how these individuals fit into a bigger storyline. It's just to really listen to what they're not saying. Listen to how much light they are blocking from their reality. Listen to what they won't speak about. It's another way to see how things are. And things get real easy when you see how much light is being reflected, because people are blocking what's going on. So basically, I just wanted to share that this idea of absorbing light. And there's even people talking about like how the flat Earth is like an eyeball or whatever. You can even see that is absorbing light. Like we're here to absorb information and grow, absorb love and connections and grow. And the separation program is here to stretch you, to dry you out, stretch that fast, potent ultraviolet vibration that you have as a child all the way through the rest of your reality. You just close the door on it, to take that vibration, just stretch you out and just flatline you, to make you be a living dead, a zombie. And that's why all these drugs, these synthetic drugs, are out there right now. You can see this flocka, this synthetic weed that's out there, getting people out there just sleeping on the streets, straight up just like knocked out, straight zombies. That's all on purpose. Like, they're doing this on purpose, and they are not talking about this stuff on purpose. It's a big deal. And then when you put all these stories up on the wall and just look at them and be like, oh, okay, well, that's very important. This can wait, that can wait. And then you see at what other people are really talking about, like what the politicians are talking about, what they're not talking about. That's a problem. It's a big deal. They are never talking about anything that really, they're never talking about the bleeds that are going on, like the arterial bleeds that are going on in the human condition. They're never talking about the suffocating of the human condition. They're talking about flesh wounds within their own perspectives of reality they call hard science and Democrats and Republicans and all that other bullshit. They're constantly caught up in their own movie, and other people are giving up their life, their light, their energy, their consciousness for an illusion. And we are living in a space of ignorance because that is normal. It's normal here. So yeah, the technology is the next space of this ignorance, just solidifying your reality into this physical reality, when we are really meant to expand outside of this reality. Like when you go into dream spaces, you dream every night. You might not remember them, but you dream every night. Like, what is that place? What is that dream? Like, what is that connection that you are experiencing in that space and then beyond there? What does that mean? What is that relationship to the physical reality? How is that light being experienced in your receptors? Like, where does that exist? Like, what does that have to do with your soul? They won't talk about that stuff. They want hard science. They want technology. They want you to be ignorant. They want you existing in a space of flatline realities. They don't want you absorbing light. Dreams are light coming in through your consciousness, through your connections, in your sleep. And a third of your waking space reality, your physical reality, is spent sleeping. And you are actually having a light absorption experience we call dream space every night, and it's been blacked out because we've been locked into the physical reality. That's a problem. That is a problem. So when we start to unravel the fact that all these problems exist, the fact that we've been taught to demonize ourselves, separate ourselves from everything, even the very natures of even understanding what sunscreen is and light absorption and melanin itself and our connections with each other. All this stuff exists to make you think a certain way about particular people who are supposed to be out there calling themselves in charge of you. This is why this stuff exists. I'm not talking about like all the supremacy program and privilege and all that stuff to get people angry and everything. I bring it up because it is very relevant within these of us understanding ourselves and the history of what's going on. It's very relevant in how I see it, and being that this is my channel, it's at the heart of the issue to set a platform of understanding before we even start going anywheres with the whole flat earth talk and the Mandela effect and all that transhumanism talk, because these so-called powers that be definitely have an agenda. They have an idea of what they're going to do with the so-called flat earth community. They have an idea what they're going to do with the transhumanism stuff and the Mandela effect stuff. They already got CERN bubbling around the Mandela effect, so they got that already on lockdown with people. You won't even allow yourself to think of anything else other than tracing it back to CERN. And that goes into your old connections with, that ties in your relationship to time and quantum physics, quantum realities, space, NASA, all that shit. All of it is being weaved into a storyline, another web of control. And if we don't go down to the basic understandings of seeing why we're here, how we experience our reality, how we absorb light, how we emit light, and how light is being reflected and energy is being manipulated to just die out in order to create this dormant state of being, this ignorant vibration. If we don't start seeing how this stuff is going on, then we're just going to end up being caught up in another slave program. And this is for the people that are on the fence of what's going on. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I just put information out there so that people who are having questions about whatever can connect with somebody who is thinking about the same things in the same kind of way. It might trigger somebody to think about something else, or maybe give a confirmation for somebody else. Like, I'm not trying to do anything so people think I'm trying to make people think a certain way or whatever. That's on you. That's the way you receive this information. This information is out there to exist, period. That's it. And it's here. I've experienced it. I've understood it. I've seen how this stuff has affected myself, my family, where my family came from, what this nation is so-called all about, and the human condition as a whole. So this is why I share this information, and take it for what it is. That's on you. But for the people who are receiving it, thank you for receiving this information and supporting me and helping me out by thumbs upping the video and commenting and sharing your light with me, because it helps me share. Even and information is light too, so when people share information with me, it helps everything out too. So thank you. I do appreciate that. And that's pretty much all I wanted to do for this video. So thank you for joining me, and until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.